Bienvenidos al primer episodio de How to Say en español. Hoy vamos a aprender cómo decir el nombre de una persona, la nacionalidad, la edad, la dirección y muchas cosas más sobre los datos personales. También vamos a ver cómo preguntar estas cosas a una persona. Welcome to the first episode of How to Say in Spanish. Today we're going to learn how to say the name of a person, the nationality, the age, the address, and many things else about the personal data. We will also see how to ask a person about these things. At first, it's important to know that if you want to say something in Spanish or in any other language, you cannot just translate words or a sentence as it is in your language. That's because every language has a different sentence structure or different words are used to express something. Empezamos. Let's get started. In the following, we will always first have a look at the question, and then we will have a detailed look at the answer for this question, so that you can understand how to build the sentence structure in Spanish. We will also translate each word to make sure that you understand the meaning and the expression in Spanish. Let's start with question number 1. What is your name? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo means how. Llamas means do you call. Te means yourself. ¿Cómo te llamas? How do you call yourself? Meaning, what is your name? Here you should notice that te is a reflexive pronoun, which belongs to the verb llamar. So the verb is called llamarse. Now you might ask yourself how llamarse will turn into te llamas. If you didn't watch the conjugation video yet, here's a small reminder. So the first step is llamarse needs to be separated into llamar and se, whereas se is the reflexive pronoun and llamar is the verb. The second step is to put the reflexive pronoun before the verb. The third step is to conform it to each person. And the last step is to take the verb llamar and conjugate it into its proper ending. If you have forgotten how the conjugation of AR verbs in Spanish is working, then watch a video indicated at the end of this video. So our question was, ¿Cómo te llamas? Meaning, what is your name? But if you want to be polite to a person, for example to your boss, or any other colleague at work, you have to use the polite version in Spanish, which is at the third person singular. So instead of ¿Cómo te llamas?, we say ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? The answer to that question would be my name is, and here in Spanish we do have 3 options to say the name. We can say yo me llamo, yo me llamo, yo I, llamo call, me myself, yo me llamo, I call myself, meaning my name is. But we can also say mi nombre es, mi nombre es. And that's very simple because this sentence is exactly how to say it in English. Mi, my. Nombre, name. Es, is. Mi nombre es, my name is. And if you want to add your surname, you can say y de apellido, y de apellido. Y de meaning and by. Apellido, surname. The third option would be yo soy, I am. Yo, I, soy, am. Yo soy, I am. After you have answered the question and told your name to somebody, and you want to know the name of that person as well, you can ask them back, and you, y tú, y usted. Y tú meaning and you. Y usted meaning and you as well, but if you talk politely to another person. Please note that in this video we will only have a look at the second and third person singular, which is tú and usted in español. But don't worry, if you have to use another personal pronoun, you can still use the same questions and answers. You just have to confirm the verb to its proper ending for the certain personal pronoun. Let's continue with the next question. How are you? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo? How? ¿Estás? Are you? But if you want to talk politely to another person, you have to say ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está? But if you talk to your friends or people that you know well, you can also say ¿Qué tal? ¿Qué tal? Basically meaning what's up. The answer to that question would be I'm fine, thank you. Estoy bien, gracias. Estoy bien, gracias. Estoy, I am, bien, fine, gracias, thank you. Of course, here you can say different things depending on your mood or your health. So instead of estoy bien, I'm fine, you can say estoy bastante bien, estoy bastante bien, or estoy muy bien, estoy muy bien, I'm very fine. But if you are anything else than fine, then you can say estoy regular, meaning that I'm not fine but also not feeling bad. Estoy fatal, or no me siento bien, no me siento bien. I'm not feeling good, I'm not fine. Estoy enfermado, meaning I'm sick. The next question is, how old are you? ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos meaning how many? But in English we would say how. Años means years. Tienes means do you have. So in Spanish we do not say how old are you, we say how many years do you have? Because tienes comes from the verb tener, and tener means to have. And if you talk politely to a person, you have to say ¿Cuántos años tiene? ¿Cuántos años tiene? And the answer to that question would be I am years old. Yo tengo años. Yo tengo años. But you can also only say tengo años. That's because in Spanish we do not necessarily have to mention the personal pronoun, because the ending of the conjugated verb tells you which person is meant. So, yo tengo or tengo means I have. Años means years. Yo tengo años means I have years. But there's also another option to ask this question. You can say ¿Qué edad tienes? ¿Qué edad tienes? ¿Qué meaning what or which? Edad means age. Tienes, do you have? ¿Qué edad tienes? Which age do you have or what age do you have? And if you talk politely, you can say ¿Qué edad tiene? ¿Qué edad tiene? And of course here you could also add the personal pronoun, but you can also leave it out, as we did. But if you want to add it, you can say ¿Qué edad tiene usted? ¿Qué edad tiene usted? The next question is, where do you come from? ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres? De, from, dónde, where. Eres, are you. ¿De dónde eres? From where are you? Meaning, where do you come from? And if you want to talk politely, you have to say ¿De dónde es? Or ¿De dónde es usted? When adding the personal pronoun. And the answer to that question is I'm from. Yo soy de or soy de when leaving out the personal pronoun. Yo soy or soy means I am. De means from. Yo soy de, I'm from. And here you should basically name your origin, meaning a country where you come from. But if you want to mention or ask for a city where somebody or you live, then you should ask this question. ¿Dónde vives? Where do you live? ¿Dónde vives? ¿Dónde? Meaning where. Vives? Meaning do you live? And if you talk politely to somebody, you have to say ¿Dónde vive? ¿Dónde vive? And the answer to that question would be I live in. Vivo en. Vivo en. Vivo, I live. En, in. And here you can name a place, un lugar, so you can say vivo en and then the place. Or you can directly name a city, so you can say vivo en una ciudad que se llama. Vivo en una ciudad que se llama. I live in a city which is called. Or you can directly say the name of the city if you're sure the other person knows that city. And the same sentence you can do with a village. Vivo en un pueblo que se llama. Vivo en un pueblo que se llama. I live in a village which is called. Or directly mention the name of the village if you're sure the other person knows the village. So in this answer, vivo en, you can mention the place, the city, or the village. But if you're sure that somebody wants to know your address, you can of course mention your address, la dirección. But how to say la dirección, your address? You first have to mention la calle y el número de piso o de la casa, meaning the name of the street and the number from your flat or house. Then you have to mention el código postal, the postal code. And at the end you mention the area, meaning la provincia. But of course, if somebody asks you, ¿Dónde vives? Where do you live? He more likely wants to hear a place, a city, or a village. So if somebody wants to know your address for sure, he will ask this question. What is your address? ¿Cuál es tu dirección? ¿Cuál es tu dirección? ¿Cuál? Which? Es, is. Tu, your. Dirección, address. ¿Cuál es tu dirección? Which is your address? Meaning, what is your address? And if you want to talk politely, you have to say, ¿Cuál es su dirección? ¿Cuál es su dirección? And remember that you can pronounce the word dirección in two ways. You can say dirección or you can say dirección. And the answer to that question is, my address is. Mi dirección es. Mi dirección es. Mi, my. Dirección, address, es, is. Mi dirección es, my address is. Let's continue with the next question. What is your phone number? ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? ¿Cuál, which, es, is, tu, your, número de teléfono, phone number. And if you talk politely to somebody, you have to say, ¿Cuál es su número de teléfono? ¿Cuál es su número de teléfono? And the answer to that question would be, my phone number is. Mi número de teléfono es. The next question is, what is your email address? ¿Cuál es tu dirección de correo electrónico? ¿Cuál, which, es, is, tu, your, dirección de correo electrónico, email address. And if you talk politely to somebody, you have to say, ¿Cuál es su dirección de correo electrónico? ¿Cuál es su dirección de correo electrónico? Let's have a closer look at the term dirección de correo electrónico. Dirección de means address of. Correo electrónico means electronic post. And the answer to that question is, my email address is. Mi dirección de correo electrónico es. Mi, my, dirección de correo electrónico, email address, is. If you then want to spell your email address, the following terms could be important for you. Arroba, guión, guión bajo, punto. The next question is, where do you work? ¿Dónde trabajas? ¿Dónde, where, trabajas, do you work? ¿Dónde trabajas? But if you want to talk politely to somebody, you have to say, ¿Dónde trabaja? And the answer to that is, I work in or I work at. Yo trabajo en. Yo trabajo, I work. En, in. Then you could mention a company, una empresa, or you could mention a place, un lugar. If you decide to take the first option, here's an example of how you could answer. Yo trabajo en una empresa que se dedica a automóviles. Yo trabajo, I work, en una empresa, in a company, que se dedica a, that is dedicated to, automóviles, automobiles. If you decide to take the second option and name a place where you work, then here's an example for that. Yo trabajo en Madrid. Yo trabajo, I work, en Madrid, in Madrid. The next question is, what do you do or work? ¿Qué haces? ¿Qué, what, haces, do you do or make? But in this case, it means, what do you work? And if you talk politely to somebody, you have to say, ¿Qué hace? To answer that question, you have three options. You can say, soy, I am, and then name your profession. The second option is, mi profesión es, my job is, and then name your profession. Or you can say, trabajo como, I work as, and then name your profession. So let's make a quick example for each option. Soy médica. I am a doctor. But the word médica is a female doctor. So if you are a male doctor, you have to say, soy médico. Mi profesión es deportista. Mi profesión es deportista. The word deportista can be male or female. So for both, the ending of the word stays the same. Trabajo como cocinera. Trabajo como cocinera. I work as a cook. The word cocinera is female, meaning a female cook. If you are a male cook, then you have to say trabajo como cocinero. But there's also another question for asking somebody about his job. So you could say, ¿A qué te dedicas? ¿A qué means to what? Dedicas means do you dedicate. Te means yourself. So, ¿a qué te dedicas means to what do you dedicate yourself, meaning what do you do, what do you work. As we've gone through the most important questions to get to know somebody, there's one thing that you can say after getting to know each other, which is pleased to meet you or like nice to meet you. In Spanish you can say mucho gusto, mucho gusto. But if you talk politely to a person, you can say encantado if you are a man, or you can say encantada if you are a woman. Encantado, encantada. Gracias por ver el video y si tienes preguntas, escríbelas en los comentarios. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, comment them below. And if you want to practice these sentences by listening, then stay tuned for the next dialogue video.